This is Pastor Troy. I hope you're doing well. We are wrapping up season 2, but you know what that means? The best of season 2. Here it comes. It's coming right at you in just a minute, but don't worry. We're in the studio. We're getting ready. We're getting things lined up, and very soon we'll be unveiling season 3 of On the Dock. In the meantime, you can go back, watch season 1. Check it out. It is fantastic. It's not outdated. Go catch it. And now we're in season 2, and get ready for this best of season 2 episode. Pastor Troy right here. We're on the dock here, getting ready to go here in our wrap-up part of this sub-series. It's a great sub-series. We'll tell you more about it in a minute, but you've joined us on the dock.org. We'll have new drops coming every Tuesday and Thursday, and as always, we're about conversations to propel your faith out of the shallows and into the deep. You can find us on multiple platforms. Got a lot of platforms. Let me say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 platforms. And we got 5 social media sites. Please try YouTube, Spotify, iTunes first. Then you can go find the others. Like me, I get kicked off Facebook all the time, so I have to go to Rumble or something like that. Use those. SermonNet's great. We've got our archives there. And also we got 5 social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter. And Getter is doing live streaming now. So very soon we hope to be able to live stream with Getter as well, because they're putting out stuff now for big people. I'm not big enough for them. We're very small. But their stream honestly is better than YouTube's. The quality is fabulous. So we'll hopefully be there soon. But check us out on all those. If you got questions, go to onthedock.org. You'll find links to all of our platforms and to our social media sites. We'll get there. And when you get there, hit subscribe, hit like, notify, tell other people to join us. We want a following, and you can always become a partner or a sponsor. There's multiple tiers of partnership where you can be a partner along with us in the show, or you can sponsor these great shows, and we can upgrade our coffee mugs with that sponsorship. So we'd love to have your mug in here. Crown Brew's had this long enough. They haven't given us any money in a long time. I got to talk to Josh. He's got to ante up. Just because he's my son, he's getting like freebies right now. So, but we're going to get Crown Brew in here real soon, and we'll hustle them when we get them here. But if you want more information, you can get that. Go to my Patreon, find out about that. onthedock.org will get you there. info@onthedock.org. We'll get you emails to our executive director, and Donna Kornewski, can help you with more information there. So we're on the dock here. I've got my lovely co-host to my right. She's had a nap this afternoon, so she should be something to mess with. The lovely and amazing Mother Beth Benedictine. Mother Beth?
I already waved. She
already waved. You can't do that off cue. Ben Ottolini, our other co-host, one of our regulars on the show. Woo. And my focused co-host for this series. Greetings, salutations. Did you enjoy your afternoon?
Indeed.
All right, we're back in the saddle here. We're going to get ready to go with a great one. We've been doing this series, we call it the On the Dock Season 2 Super Series. Super. We got to get like a sound effect or something, Lucas.
Super.
Oh yeah, the guy from Azerbaijan. Yeah. Super. I forgot about that. That's probably trademark. We probably can do it. Super.
I know.
Do you ever get a chance to go watch the Azerbaijan guy? What's the guy called? I love his show. Just cooking.
Wilderness Cooking.
Wilderness Cooking. Mm-hmm. Go look at. They should give me. Wilderness Cooking. You need to be a partner for onthedock.org. We could. Yeah.
Sometimes he doesn't speak.
He doesn't speak at all, and then it just at the end he comes in. Super. Yeah, it's great. Hey, you got to catch it. So worship leaders of Southern Illinois, we're on the Dock Season 2 Super Series special. We're going to be putting this out all through the fall and throughout the season. Check it out. But we're getting into that. We're just getting into part 6. We're doing these worship leaders in probably 3-part subsets, and we're here with Israel Lopez from Love and Truth. Hey, Israel, we're in his walk-off inning right now. He's up. He's been pitching. He's been throwing good. This is his last inning. He'll go to the dugout after this and get ready. Get ready for Wednesday night at his church, But he's at Love and Truth Church, worship pastor there at Craneville. Look at this fine man. He looks great there. We are doing all kinds of great stuff. Let's tell him about your church one more time. Love and Truth in Craneville. You can look up the address. Craneville's not very big. You can wander all around. Do you know that when I came out of seminary, I went to seminary for one purpose, was to start a church. God called me to plant a church. He called me specifically to plant a church in this region. I wrote up a plan, and that was to start a church at Craneville, out there at the crossroads. And this was way back, almost would be circa 1989. And they sent me off to seminary. I was supposed to come back with a promise to start a church in Craneville. So I'd have been there, right by the Dairy Queen. I'd been happening.
Yeah.
I'd been before Quiznos and all that stuff. And we were going to start a church there. Absolutely. That's what we went to school for. And I got out of school, and they called me and said, we're not doing that. We're sending you to Alamy, Illinois, the home of the white squirrels, and you're not going to get to start a church right now because basically they didn't like the district superintendent down here. He was out of grace. And so Dr. McLean couldn't get me in here. And I had gone to seminary, literally moved our family for the promise of planting a church here and in Granville. And so we spent 20 plus years. We ended up being in Alamy 1 year, planted a church in year 2 in Highland. When I went to Highland, they said, well, you can go to Highland. The DS there, we like him. And so, do you have a plan for that? I said, sure. So I took the Craneville statistics, Craneville everything, marked out Craneville Project X, put in Highland Hope Project X, and substituted it, changed no demographics, which are totally false for Highland and Craneville.
Right.
But I had to have it in like 12 minutes. And I turned it in. They approved everything, gave me 5 years of funding, salaries and everything. And because of that, Lucas Winkler is in this room.
There we go.
So Lucas Winkler came out of that movement. So God sometimes sends you to Egypt to get Lucas so you can come back to the promised land. And what's funny was we went on to Waterloo. We went to Pawnee, which was away from church planting, but we were doing regional church development. And finally, I got a chance to come here and leave the Methodist Church. And what's funny is I'm sitting just a few miles from Craneville. And now I feel like I can't go to Craneville because Love and Truth is in Craneville, and I don't need to do that because they planted a better church than I would have anyway. God is in control.
Yes.
God is in ultimate control, and I'm better off because I have Israel as my friend.
Hey, love you guys.
God is good. Love you too. So go to Craneville's church if you want to. Thank God it's not the church I'm pastoring there. I'm pastoring in Carterville. No, because I would miss so many people along the way. I would have, you just trust God. I was mad for a while, but you go, man, I was wrong. 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock on Sundays, double services. Wednesdays, 7 o'clock. You see website, email.
Yep.
Go see Pastor Bob, see Terry, and I think that you'll have a great time.
Yes.
And you're married again, and you've got a beautiful wife, Alyssa. You've got this cat. What's the cat's name again?
Rin. R-I-N.
R-I-N.
Rin.
All right. Well, you're looking good there. We've learned a lot about you, and gosh, it's just been just incredible. So we want to get into this last session and get into some super tough questions because we've been playing around. We have just been playing around. Now, you have said some prolific things. I'm going to give you a minute to kind of clean some of it up because eventually we're going to print this, hold this against you. We'll, send it out to your pastor.
Hey, accountability.
Surprise. The one thing I've learned is I've known you for a long time. I've seen nothing but the joy of the Lord in you. I've seen nothing but the presence of God in your family and your ministry. I'm excited, but we walked out of here after the first 2 episodes just in awe of what God's done in your life and the spirit you bring to it, but also the depth of theology you bring to it. And I say that with a credit. So much theology is garbage today, but your theology is right to the heart of Christ. And when you open with that worship is about, worshiping is about serving the one we embody in Christ. And I just thought that was really well done. And it's a sacrificial living sacrifice you mentioned. We discussed a little bit about ritual versus worship. Ritual is that dead thing. Worship is that worshiping the embodiment, that living relationship. Just some great stuff there. You talked about in those key things about being focused on Him, Christocentric. That's what I would call that. Scripture being at the core of everything you understand, whether you bring it in worship or whether you bring it in the lyric, in the process. I would assume, we didn't discuss this, I would assume in how you hold each other accountable, even in your worship team. Yeah. Scripture would be there. Yes. Sola Scripture. That would be very, so right now we're Christocentric, we're sola Scripture, and then finally Spirit-led. Yeah. And Spirit-led being both flexible and planned. So that's not your fly by the seat of your pants, swing from the chandelier charismatic, but it's a serious Spirit-filled, it's somebody rooted in a Pentecostal experience that knows that he will give you the words to say when you need it if you're focused on Him. So we just left this with amazement at that. You guys, any comments on what you heard in the first couple episodes? No, not prolific yet. You guys, communication. He talks about communication, being prepared for worship. having the conversations that need to happen in the process. I think that's really good. I think that's a thing I probably need to work on better is have conversations sooner before I just get irritated. I run, as a church planner, a developer, I run macro. And so I try to hire people that just kind of run, that I think will be responsible. And if you got a catapult and I've got a sword, I expect you to be better at the catapult than I am the sword. So let's just fire away, And if somebody's under there taking a nap when they should be firing the catapult, I'll sit there for a while and eventually I'll go carve out a new hole in their head. But and I'll just keep slugging away because I don't know the word back off. And so I think conversation processes is something to develop. And so even as an older pastor, that's something to work on. I'm always working on that because I'm not a back of the line general. I'm an over the mountaintop, lead from the front kind of guy. And the problem is if you look back all the time, you get killed. So I'm just not used to that. So, but that's something to work on. I think it's really going to help me as I think about what you've said is that communication needs to happen in the process as well. And I believe that. It's just, gosh, I mean, when you do new church stuff, it's tough.
It's hard.
Yeah, and develop out of honesty where people are. I can always handle that once I hear where people are. It'll settle me down. And then clear, trust, and yield. That was be clear with people, to have trust, and be ready to yield. And that's a process over time. I tend to work well with it over time, too, because people know, even in my situation, they know that there's nothing I won't do for them in the end.
Right.
And I'll fight just as hard for them as I will for whatever I'm fighting for. It's just, when I've got a sword in my hand, it's a bad time to creep up on me. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just is. I mean, that's just how I'm built. So, but people are coming. You said when people are coming, for the people, one of your desires was that people would empty themselves either by giving out and receiving. I really like that. You talked about them getting connected as well, having full connection. And we also discussed about not allowing people to be distracting.
Yeah. Because
it takes away from your experience, others' experience. And going back to your being prepared in conversation about process, we talked about platform distractions a bit. Being prepared. I liked your word about graciousness. You said that right toward the end of the last episode. Gracious with ourselves. I think a lot of musicians are perfectionists, and so they can be really hard on themselves. And God just showed up in the service, and they're talking about the whole entire lunch, how they missed two chords. I missed the B minor, seventh diminished. I didn't quite get my finger on it. And God was humming in the room, and they missed it for the right pinky didn't get over and folded, and they missed it. And I do feel sometimes for musicians because I know, because it's tough. They're giving everything they have, and then they don't realize God just did an amazing thing through you. And I do the same thing.
It's usually he'll finish, we'll go home, and he'll say, oh my gosh, that was terrible.
That's terrible.
And I'll be like, that was the best sermon you ever preached.
Yeah. You were on it. I said, what? And I'll tell her it's going to be terrible. And she's, no, it's great. Oh man, I hate that.
We're our biggest critic anyway.
We are.
And we look ourselves in the mirror. We're like, what did you just do?
If I think it's going to be a killer, I flop. I just, it's just terrible. No matter how good I do, it's like God said, I had a good one for you. You knew it was good, and guess what, buddy? You're going to be humbled.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not impressed. God tells me all the time. Thank you. God tells me oftentimes. It is God's song.
Yeah.
It's my favorite song. That don't impress me much. I know Shania sang it, but I know God gave her the lyrics. That don't impress me. I got style, but not the stuff. I think we all, whether preacher or the worship pastor, I think we all fight that. We do want to. I do want to be pleasing to Him. I know it's not works based. I think you do. I think we agree. But you still want to give your best.
Well, that's what Scripture says: play skillfully to the Lord. Yeah. I mean, if you're volunteering for that, and this is where the grace thing kind of has to balance out.
Yeah,
you can't always give grace to somebody who's not willing to practice.
Right, and it's hard to put it on yourself.
Discipline is the best way.
And I think your graceful thing is good. I'm not as gracious with myself as the problem. And if I could do that a little more, it would help me apply that to other people. Yeah. And I do it better in my old age, a little bit better because I know I need to do that. And but I have to work hard on it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean it's easy either. Because just some of us are wired a little different, and God knows how we're wired. That doesn't mean we can't get better. But I think those are some really key things you put out. I've learned from it today. I've been blessed in the conversations with you. So, awesome. Well, let's get into some fresh ground. Fresh ground, if you don't have anything new, guys. I wanted to give you guys a chance to know I was listening. So, I was listening. And the first question of the hour. This is a tough one. What is your biggest, and you can answer this. you can be spiritual if you want. You can be processed here. You can be set up. You can different dimensions. We've got different people listening, people aspiring to be worship leaders out there, and they need to know the truth of what the hard week looks like. Because everybody goes, "Oh, the show was great. He looks great up there." They have no idea what it takes to get up there. And what you went through to get there, and the sweat and the pain and the negotiation behind the scenes and helping people and mental fatigue, and your wife was up all night with whatever heaves your baby wouldn't sleep.
Israel's vocal warm ups.
Kitty cats got fleas.
Spiritual attacks.
Spiritual attacks.
The cat.
What is your biggest challenge as a worship leader, kind of week to week? Just week to week, and that could be music prep, choice, could be rehearsals, selecting your team for the week, your audio visual, your lighting. It could be you just have a pain in the butt creative arts guy. Like Lucas. That's not Lucas, but yeah.
Can we take him?
No, you cannot take him. That is the one thing. That is dangerous.
You have not because you asked not. But I still don't have him though.
Right, I know, but I know.
Hey, I'll take a bullet. I'll take it.
Oh man.
I know. There's some things I'll negotiate on. I have to be real careful.
Yes, you're fine. You're good.
Oh, he's getting fired up right now.
But no, I will say that's.
I've had them both a long time. Both of these.
It's family.
Yeah,
it's family.
Well, they're both our family, Jimmy. So I want the best for them. So if that's better for Lucas, that's fine. But we're all coming to your church next week.
Come on.
No,
open arms.
Yeah. You probably better edit that out. Put a blur in that, Lucas. That probably is inappropriate. YouTube will probably ban us for that. They can be considered a hate crime.
I think it's great.
I do
think
too.
It's great.
No, I do too.
I feel safe, guys.
You feel safe?
I don't feel threatened.
Because you know I love you.
I don't feel
Yeah. Okay. So week to week, other than trying to steal Lucas, what is your biggest challenge? Because that would be bad. We're coming for him, aren't we, buddy?
Yeah, we're gonna do something.
You got that van? We can make him go. Okay. And we have a grill. We can smoke a body.
There we go.
What was that
Y'all
movie?
heard it first.
What was that movie? Fried Green Trans. Those are some sweet ribs.
Mm-hmm. And you got an army of possums who will take care of the mess.
Yeah. They're her personal possums.
Wow.
She has them by name. So tell me, what's that week-to-week challenge at different levels? Just give us a few of those to help. There's a young worship leader, somebody dreaming about taking your job. Yeah. Tell them what are those 4 or 5 things that they don't see behind the curtain? Yeah.
I guess it's just yourself, just myself. The process is, okay, if I didn't do so well this week, I'm not planning to do that song again to do it better the next week.
Have you ever just taken a song and go, nope, that's not happening again. It's gone.
Oh yeah. And sometimes
you two guys both?
Oceans.
Yeah. There's plenty of songs out there that I don't ever want to touch.
Give me one song.
No.
Give me. Okay, Ben, just help him. Name one song that you did and go, not her song. Don't do it. Is that
mess with my song?
If you mess with it, Beth has one song she tried to get it played for 2 years.
I hounded him for 2 years.
She worked the women in the group, everybody. She finally got it. She had to work for it.
She got it. We were waiting for the right moment.
Yeah,
it was the Lord's
Tell the wife.
What is that song you would rip from the book, never to be played again? You got one?
Yes, I'm sure, but
you can't come up with it. Golly,
Lucas, do you have one? It's just because they're like. They've been so overplayed. You're like, all right,
you're sick of that.
We got to be done with this one.
I have one.
I'm trying to think.
Which one?
If the Lord's with us, who can be against us?
Yeah,
we're doing that this weekend.
God.
Oh,
our God. Yeah.
Our God.
Our God is
I'm trying to remember. Jeez, that's a hard one.
So you have to fight that. You have to look at what works well, what's not work with this team.
And that's the thing, like even certain lyrics, and it's so cool because my pastor will do this. Pastor Bob will do this sometimes. He'll be like, I don't like, and he'll say it right after we sing it. He'll be like, I don't like that line. Let's switch it out. Can you and we'll say, oh, we got to sing it this way. So I have to change the lyric on the fly, and we got to go with it.
So you guys rebuild some lyrics occasionally, huh?
And that's just what happens. Sometimes because of the moment.
Now, I've noticed at Community Faith, we change some lyrics too occasionally, but it seems to be because they forgot them and they were filling in new ones. So how often do you change lyrics just intentionally?
Intentionally? Well, I never sit down and look at a song and dissect it and go, I want to change this lyric and this.
Oh, no.
No, it's normally like, I might change like to a me, or the opposite. like stuff like that. But I
that's good though. I appreciate that process.
Yeah, because it's just like, or my victory is coming. He wants to say my victory has come.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
So like
the present realized.
Present realized, but not taking
my theology too.
Yes.
There's a thing called realized eschatology, and there's called a present realized. So there's future eschatology and realized. So future says the kingdom's coming, and the other says the kingdom's at hand and is coming.
Yeah.
In Jesus and the Holy Spirit, we stand in the kingdom, but yet it will also come. Sure. So there's a realized eschatology.
And I understand.
My hope is alive. My hope is coming.
People who are writing that they're experiencing at that moment,
at their moment,
in expectation or a prayer, but in reality, it's like, no, I'm feeling it right now.
No, I like that. I like that. That's really
I think too. Like our son Josh used to drive him crazy when worship bands would be up there and they'd be singing just the latest pop Christian. You know,
it's a ballad. They're singing somebody's ballad.
Be like,
it's their personal
like
testimony.
my dad was a preacher. Well, everybody out the congregation's dad wasn't a preacher. You're going to lead that as a worship.
Yeah, what was
song?
that? My dad. Yeah, they're singing the latest pop Christian. For that artist, it's a great song.
Right.
There's just some songs that are like
song.
It's not like
you listen to it.
It's not a congregational worship song,
right?
Like
they used to drive him nuts.
Wouldn't do this in church.
You run into that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of songs where it's like, okay, it's good that they're singing it, but it just doesn't fit.
It's not a worship song.
It's their testimony. It's their powerful piece.
And like we even deal with that with our main campus. Like main campus will do certain songs that we just won't do. Yeah, because it's just different. You can't. Like what we were talking about.
Well, a bunch of Tennessee people down there don't understand how things go up here in Cardinal country.
Yeah, and some songs will work over there that not that they just won't. It's just the feel of the people and the way that they're at in the room.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
So
I totally agree.
Yeah.
It's just it's different, but yeah, there are some songs, but it's just like
so. Song selection processing is a key component.
Usually, I just don't touch those songs because I know I'm like that one's not. For me, I don't mean to like take the reins here.
You're fine.
For me, it's like if I hear a song and I'm like, I can't see myself leading it or it doesn't impact me. It's really hard for me to.
Yeah, I send these guys songs all the time, but I don't send them a song that I haven't been doing in my own prayer time. They go, man, I really like this song. And I realize maybe he can't do it or somebody can't do it, but I only send songs that touch me. Yeah. You know, in general, or that she scares me about that she wants. So,
well, I have suggestions from Pastor's wife. Pastor Terry, does
she have more influence with you than Beth? She does with Ben, because Beth has no influence with Ben.
Hey,
I think it's all different with the relationship you have with that person.
Yeah,
and it's understanding like some things you can't just be like, oh, every week, hey, I want this song, hey, I want that song. But it's understanding like what's fitting the moment and what's going to fit it. Like my pastor just sent a song that you guys have been doing here at COF, and I now feel I can do it because you guys have done it.
Yeah. Oh,
because I've seen it done.
So you're saying Ben's a trendsetter. Ben will look at
No.
Yes. So what we're going to do is we're going to start watching yours, and I'm going to send them songs you're doing.
Oh, good luck.
That's actually a great idea.
That is a good idea.
It's Jackson. It's north, so you won't see me.
But I think that's powerful what you're saying, because you guys interact a lot in other settings.
Yeah.
The crossbreeding amongst pastors and sharing that really makes other things attainable that you may not have tried.
And it's pretty cool what actually songs you think we're the only ones doing it in Southern Illinois, and then you realize, hey, 50 other churches.
Just have a family fun day with 8 bands and ask Lucas how many times you hear certain songs.
Yes, every year.
One of the things I'd like to do one of the things I'd like to do at Family Fun Day next year is make all the worship teams coincide so that a song can't be played more than once in a day. They could have a drawing or something.
Remember in the river.
We're going to go the opposite direction and make every worship team play the same.
They could play all 7 of the same songs.
And we're going to have 5 judges.
I like that. Hey, we could do that. That would raise some money.
No,
people could call in. You rake a donation, and it comes with a vote.
Yeah,
I'm serious about that. We may have a duel.
We're gonna have so many.
That may be the way to change it.
I really felt the spirit on this set, but not that one.
Not that one.
Yeah.
It's not anointed.
So what's another thing besides song selection and kind of working through that?
I mean, the number of volunteers you have. So trying to fill in positions if somebody calls in or somebody.
Well, proms this week are homecoming, so the parents have got to be up all night.
Right.
It's good. I'm not sure I can make it there this week.
Right. So then it's like, okay, well, I had them scheduled a month ago, but now they confirmed, but now they can't be there.
Do you use Worship Planner like
yes,
these guys?
We use Planning Center.
So, okay, tell us the tricks you use. So what are you projecting your songs with?
We use ProPresenter.
ProPresenter.
We need to be updating.
Okay,
we're on ProPresenter 6.
We were. What are we on now?
7.
But we were in the Stone Ages for a while.
That's one more.
You upgraded, right? So are we ahead of him?
Yes.
Praise God. We're up there. Moving
That's
on.
math. Yeah.
What is there? Is there another one beyond us?
No, not right now.
Thank God. We're almost current. We had to buy a whole new computer just to make that jump.
Well, we need to buy a new computer.
It's kind of the Millennium Falcon, Hey, and the computer doesn't work that well so far on it. It's really chewing it up. And then, so you use ProPresenter. Then
Yes.
what do you communicate with your team with?
With Planning Center or usually text.
Text
I
and
normally, because every week, like before practice, I'll be like, hey, we're meeting at this time only for those scheduled. Now, there's some people that are in this rotation continuously because they're the only ones that are doing that position.
And what do you use do you use in-air monitors? Or do you use wedges on the stage?
We actually just got P16s.
Is that good, Lucas?
That's what we
Those
use.
are more
They use,
solid and so it's
So you guys are completely in ear. There's no stage monitors anymore.
No, I think we're trying to get some smaller ones.Maybe we're thinking about it because it's just for the speaker and it's hard to hear when you're not having your in ears. Like there's a dead zone space up there, so it's hard to hear. Like, am I playing that right?
No, I know the same thing. I'm one of the few preachers that wants to hear myself, which I have not been hearing myself very good on Sunday. It's been a little challenging the last couple of, well, just the last couple of 2 weeks. I've noticed that somebody pushed back on that a little bit. It got a little better later, but I like to hear myself because if not, I'll overshout.
Yeah,
because I use intonation.
You want to make sure that it's
where I want it.
Projecting.
Yeah, and if I can't hear it when I do crusade someplace, I can blow my voice out, thinking I'm not getting out there.
Right.
And then I'll push too hard. But like with this, it's so easy.
Yeah.
It's just it's so easy. So we need to go to this mic.
Just leave.
And the other thing is song choices because, like I said, some songs I'm like
song choices, team choices.
Yes.
Are your biggest week to week things.
Yeah.
Do you just get sick and tired of picking songs? You just run out of stuff and you go that same old meatloaf, same old mashed potatoes.
Thankfully, I have pastors that are very up to date with stuff on that end, and they're very like even on certain songs. Now, sometimes they'll be like, "Hey, I would like this song done on a Wednesday, something that's not Sunday."
How many times do you say we need a hymn? We get that pretty regularly. We get a few people that go.
My pastors are very great defenders of their worship. Pastors,
the good thing is the hymns. We're able to put the hymns in almost all current stuff.
Yeah, no,
which is
most
great.
of it is written that way.
I so much appreciate that.
Yeah.
And they're so much better.
Yeah,
they're so much better, and the hymns are so good theologically in general. Yeah, so that's coming back. So
what do you mean they're so much better?
Most hymns come from a scriptural writing, or they came from a deeper theology of writing.
Yeah, you just need to clarify.
Yeah. They're better in the sense of the structure of them, and they're not ballads. The ones that we use are enduring hymns.
They're sung and they're easy to catch on.
Yeah.
Now
the problem is now they used to be I went to that church, don't know none of the music. Yeah. Now it's completely the other way. I come in church and go, Ben, I need this hymn, and he'll I think I maybe heard that once at a funeral.
Oh yeah,
precisely. You get somebody dying, I have to go get one of the old piano players in to do the right songs.
Oh my.
And because we've lost that, the good thing is a lot of that's being reclaimed. Thank God for Crowder and different people bringing that back and more and more of that back. So, and it's being brought back better.
Oh yeah,
with bridges and choruses.
Time we were doing it as well.
Yes.
And I had no idea what the word buffet meant.
To buffet your body?
Satan.
Well, that's when you go
buffet, and I'm like, what? Is Satan going to the Golden Corral?
He's going to the ground. Yeah, baby. That's what I used to use that.
Google it.
I used to use that theological. Paul said it says to buffet your body. We're going to eat, boys. A mighty fortress is our God, a bulwark never failing. But once you find out what those mean, they're really great.
Yeah, and that was the language. It's just finding the language that
modern language
easy to be used with people, because most people coming into church, they hear so many different things language wise now, lingo and stuff like that. So like with TikTok and YouTube,
it's so broad. It's so broad. Yeah.
What does that mean anymore?
Yeah, and then we also are facing. When I started in ministry, you had the New Living Translation, that you had a King James and a New King James, and everybody hated the Good News because it was just too dumb for anything. And then the Old Living came out, and it's poorly written. Now the New Living we use is much better. There's 1,000 other translations now, so you don't know which translation they used when they wrote the lyric, or you have to work a little bit more today to get to the root of it.
Right.
I do it all the time in church. I'll tell people, well, this is a bad interpretation of this. How'd they get this?
Right. No, and it's very much, I had a conversation with a friend of mine who was just in town, and we were talking about one song, and it talks about getting out of your grave and stuff. And he made a statement. He said, if a new person was coming in and never understood what that meant, you're singing about zombies?
The grave clothes.
Yeah. Hey, it's a zombie fest.
Yeah, but they don't know what that means. So that's
Right.
one of the other stuff where it's like, okay, it's context of what you're trying to mean also.
Right.
And if somebody's coming in for the first time, what do they know about that?
You're getting out of your grave clothes, but you're not a zombie. You got to put some clarifiers in there by the time you're done.
Write that.
Yeah.
But no, there's various songs like that
Oh,
now.
yeah.
But
I
it's
know.
just it's
No, yeah,
just
it's true.
contextually, what does it sound like to a new person?
It does.
Because that's
Who
our
ha-
main focus.
And,
usually.
and with the language of Bibles being so different,
Oh, man.
it's very difficult. And some of it's good, and sometimes interpretation is bad. But given the language of that
Right.
who they're targeting, it's understandable.
Yeah.
So going off the back of that last question, your biggest challenges, how have you seen? Not now, but in say 10 years. Let's use 10 years as a period. Maybe you can go 20 if you want, but in 10 years, what is a major thing or two you've seen change in worship? Really seen change?
I would say the way that you flow in worship. So spontaneous worship became a terminology around, more influence. I started seeing it after 2011 on albums as I was listening through, worship music, what it sounded like, because that's when I started doing music. So I was like, okay, I got to see what it's sounding like. So every year I started seeing spontaneous stuff pop out. And I was like, man, this is becoming more of a trend than it is becoming actual spontaneous.
Right.
So the reality of how they use bridges and how they use certain songs, like even now I've heard some people say that's too repetitive, but it's like, in heaven, you repeat the same thing.
I know. I say bridges and then maybe weaving. You're really good
Yeah.
at that. You'll take a song and you'll go into maybe a chorus or something else and come back around to it. I call it weaving.
A lot of times that's totally random.
Random. No, and I love it. And and I know I've heard the gripe for years. Yeah, you just sing the same songs. That verse you go 12 times and then you go 6 times and you go 12
Yeah.
times. That's up 40 times. That's a
Well,
lot of times.
it depends.
I got it on time too. and I'm trying. But when I say go read the Bible,
Yeah.
Yeah.
holy, holy, holy,
Right.
Lord God Almighty. That's all these cherubim get to sing, and they're tickled.
Yeah.
You don't understand. You're going to be this. Heaven could be hell to you. You better renounce your repentance.
Yeah.
I told you you need to renounce your
Yeah.
repentance, and so you can get back to hell, and you can say there's a party going on up in here, and we can sing whatever. But because you're not going to hate heaven,
Right.
because we're just going to worship Him,
Yeah. That's it.
and we just might be saying, "Man, holy,"
Yeah. Well, I think that's just the way that your lyric wise is becoming a little bit more, what's that word where it's for every person? It was a Latin term. It was something that Gregorian chants.
Yeah,
talk
right.
about,
No, I got
but
you.
It's for common
kind
people.
of a cantor.
Yeah,
That's
it
like more of a
allows
cantor.
so people can actually read the lyrics and be like, "Oh yeah, I can sing that."
Well, you know why? You know why it is. I'll give you an explanation, and we talked about this briefly. And it has to do with the rhythm. It has to do with sequence and connecting, and it goes back to the cosine and sine.
Yeah.
People can find a flow in it.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't know the song, but they can, and they don't know all these new lyrics. But when you come to that bridge or that
Yeah.
12 times 6, people can lose it for a minute and just connect with Him.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I think the problem is, why are you counting? Why are you counting? Why aren't you just on your face going, He's worthy of me saying this 147,000 times?
Yeah.
Do you think that's a problem because just people don't recognize truly the value of what we're actually participating in when we worship?
Totally agree.
Do you think it's a teaching thing?
No.
Do you think it's
Yeah. Well, I think some it's teaching. As a pastor, I'm just saying. Now I'm answering questions to you guys now. I think
great.
this is my experience. I've started multiple new churches, and I get this garbage from people all the time over we are saying, and I'm like, dude. First of all, just relax. Second of all, let the Baptists get out first. Let them go eat all the old chicken they bring out from yesterday. Get it cleared out. Let them get the old mashed potatoes out. And by the time we get to church, we're going to get the fresh whipped potatoes and the fresh fried chicken, and they're going to burn up that old grease. Quit worrying about trying to get out of here before you get started.
Yeah.
When I was running restaurants in Memphis,
huge.
one of the things I hated it. I worked right next to the college, ran John Will's Barbecue. People would come in and they would go, when can I get off today? They've not waited one table yet. They're working for a living. They're going to wait tables. They got to make some money, and they're asking me, "Can you cut me early today?" I'm thinking, "Cut you early? We haven't waited one table yet. You haven't even seen what you're going to make yet. This could be the biggest day of the year. How can I tell you when I'm going to cut you now? We may need you for a year. You may never get to leave. I may tie you to the grill, but you're asking to be cut. They come in to win money for their family.
Yeah.
And they're already thinking about how can they do the least to get by.
Right.
And I think unfortunately, I'm afraid some people come to church thinking that Christianity is about how to do the least to get by.
Well, we found more excuses to believe that. And that's what I believe over the time, even in worship, we found more excuses of like, well, the radio songs are easier to sing because they're timed.
And they're done in 2 minutes and 27 seconds.
And then I could do 7 of those and still fill 20 minutes.
Right.
Okay. Let me pull a question on this. Then. If when you pick an album and you pick a Christian music today, this table here won't include Lucas in it. He'll have to shout. Do you prefer the radio version, the type version, or do you prefer the live worship version? Oh, live. Lucas is live. Live. We love our music live. How about you?
Studio.
You like studio?
How come?
Why?
Because it gives me. So that's just for my way of how I flow. It's like the studio version gives me a map of what it is, and then I kind of play off of that.
Okay, well, but I think we're in the same place now. What I mean by studio, what I mean by radio is it's the very tight one. It's 3 verses and done and out. And
it depends on the song.
Yeah, it's Casey Kasem and the 2-minute cut. Whereas the live tends to be that extended play one. You get the rip.
It's like the recent one, like Gyra.
Yes.
I prefer the studio more than the live
because the studios today play. They'll do more.
They do so many choruses and stuff. I'm like, I can't lead all this.
But I think a lot of our Christians, unfortunately, are shaped. Older Christians are shaped by years in the denomination when your service time was limited to 1 hour and you had to get out. Yes. 1 hour and you had to get out because Sunday school's next, and nothing wrong with Sunday school because you guys have Sunday school. Is that we got this next and this next and next.
But with multiple services, he would have to deal with that.
You got some pressure on that too.
We don't have
to deal with that. No. But the thing is, you deal that with worship leaders that are saying, well, I got to play all these songs. It's a philosophy. Are you here? Are you here because of the one we embody? We want to serve him. Are we really here so we can get our thing done and get our lucky Jesus and get on to lunch?
Yeah.
I got things to do this afternoon.
Yeah.
And I think if we're coming, it's not that we don't have things to do. It's realistic. We all have things to do. But if that's how you come into worship, there's going to be a limit to what you can get.
Yeah. And that's actually going back to that. The reason why I also prefer singles is because you have a creative outlet for a specific time. And sometimes people are very creative with that time and sometimes they're not. But I just always am curious about the creativity that comes out in those 3 minutes. Like, how do you put a very spirit-filled song and put it in like boxed up?
Right, exactly.
And so it's always surprising me because that's why I love listening because I'm like, oh wow, they touched that. But then when you get to the live, it's like sometimes they miss it or sometimes
they're not able to explore the depth of that. So you actually see the studio as a deeper experience possibly.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the real short radio versus the live.
I prefer, this is my preference. I prefer doing it live. Like for me, like if there's a song that, we just did Cedar sessions and I love recording and all that, but it's not my thing. Like that just takes me out of myself. Like it's
kind of a cross between the studio and the live performance. So it's Cedar's kind of a mix of the two.
Yeah. So for me, I would just prefer on just doing live sets.
And for those of you that don't know what a Cedar session is, we're not going to talk about that in this episode, but we are going to have your brother, Daniel Lopez, in on one of the episodes, and we're going to mine out the Cedar sessions. You're going to get a chance to see some of those. So that's coming. Yeah. So, but it's just a great immersion type experience. Would you, let me wrap this one up, then I got 2 more good questions, but would you attribute some of the spontaneous worship? Yeah. Where would you attribute the development of that becoming so popular? That's a good language, and I would agree with that too. I didn't think about that, and I watched spontaneous worship start some 30 years ago with a certain group of people that I spent a lot of time with. And where do you see that? Where do you see that influence coming from? Because that's certainly new. The spontaneous worship.
And that's the thing. It's kind of came off of different artists that then spurred into normal CCM. Like I've noticed that people were doing spontaneous way before it became popular.
Right.
But I noticed it more as you would think like Bethel music and very much in the IHOP community.
Okay, that's where I would go to.
And-
The first I've ever seen it done before all those others were popular was when Mike Bickle
Bickle.
started IHOP, and I was there in their first
Yes.
year, and I've spent many years retreating in their place.
Yeah.
They were doing spontaneous worship before anybody was doing it, and really a lot of their artists came out and went to those places. You know,
And it
CCM.
wasn't spontaneous. Was never just make up your own lyrics.
No, it was
always
open to the Holy Ghost.
I have a scripture that I have opened up, so I'm going to spontaneously sing this phrase with
Right.
the melody that I have.
That's right. It's just
So it wasn't all just make up what I feel, though that's what usually is done now because we're like, oh, we're feeling the moment. But scripture is always the base.
Yeah, theirs was very random. So I've been involved with it. I've prayed there at the house there on that. We've done it here. So I think IHOP's offered a lot to us.
Oh,
that
yeah.
would be something that's become was weird, kind of different. That's become very normal. Yeah, that's a great pick.
Yeah.
So what is with COVID? What was your biggest challenge as a worship leader going through the cycle of COVID and kind of being shut down a bit? And
Well, being shut down for us wasn't the biggest thing. Was disconnection from our people.
actually physically
That
connected.
physical
yeah.
connection, because you know, we love our main campus, but they really do everything on the streaming side.
So y'all just beamed. You were able to more easier than many churches. You
Yeah.
were able to put out a quality service
without
quicker.
without us having to, for our own campus, to reach
So
out.
basically, your mothership was able to fire their stuff
Yes.
out directly to your stuff.
Yes.
So whereas we had to go out and spend overnight $25,000 unauthorized dollars, this pastor and Lucas
but that has its pros and its cons, because we want people to realize, like, even after COVID, which we'll talk about that, but I just think, like, through COVID, we just had to find that ways to connect more. Okay, are we still contacting these people even though we're not meeting in house?
Yeah, checking in on them every
Checking
week.
in and hey, do you still have
Weekly
prayer
calls,
requests?
what do you
even
need?
my team, I was surprised, like, how many people still stayed on
Yeah.
to even after those few months that we were off, to be like, hey, reschedule me or put me back on.
That's great.
And I was able to train more people through that.
Some one-on-one and stuff
Yeah.
like that. What have you seen on the other side now coming out of COVID? Is there anything that's a new different?
Yeah, it's the expectation. We talked about that. The people's expectation of what they come in to see a church. Especially at Love and Truth Church in Craneville, since we're not Jackson, people have seen Jackson stream and came into the church and said, this is not what it looks like on the internet.
I want to meet him. Here, where is he at?
Yeah. And it's like, well, this is not, you know, and
This is TV magic.
We had a few times where we had to tell people, like, no. Now, did we see them after? Yeah, we have some not, but that's just what they were looking for. I mean, we don't never compromise the content of the service or the spiritual
So
aspect.
you don't make your campus pastor, dress up in his costume or be like another Elvis.
No, he won't.
No, you don't. No good. Well, I'm just checking. I'm just checking.
But no, it is that coming out of it is people's expectation when they come in. Well, and you know, like even special speakers,
Right.
You know, we had a special speaker a few weeks ago, and someone was asking why we weren't streaming it, and it's like, we don't stream online. The main church streams on here. If you want to see them, come.
And you're picking up theirs when you
live
do
to our
that.
campus.
Right.
So it is a give and take.
So you guys had an easier shift when you went to stream
Yes.
because you were built already to do
Yes.
that normally. Now,
but the work was still.
your congregation, but the work was
The
still
work
there.
was still
but
there.
maintain the local relationship
Yes.
is different. So as you go back, you're finding probably it's a little bit of a hybrid for you. So it's a little different shift.
It's been, and you know, that's always had its. People always have the negative side of, like, well, even during when we started coming back, when we reopened back in July of 2020, and you know, we started opening back up with protocols. You know, people were like, well, I want to hear our pastor. I want to do this. And it's like, well, you can come on Wednesdays. He's always talking.
Yeah, he's
Like,
always talking, right.
And it's like, people just made an excuse not to be there. But that was their main excuse.
I found that a lot of people were able to make excuses they couldn't have normally made,
Yeah.
and they used them.
Yeah.
I also found that we've had to give people permission back here to almost re-engage. We had to reteach re-engagement here. And we're seeing it now after months of this. People are starting to re-engage in the sermon. They're speaking back. They're not texting back. They're speaking back.
Well, it's even like, and this is older people. I'm not talking even about younger people, though. That's a whole different. But like the phone technology aspect,
Right.
how much they're involved with that. Like, we just put a QR code for our giving. Older people were like, No, they were like, yeah, give me
liked
that
it?
QR code.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you say easy camera, like that's just,
They like that, huh?
yeah, let me use my camera. Because they want to use their camera for everything.
Okay, I'll talk to Haley. We have to have a QR code on our screen now. That's a good idea. That's a really good
But
point.
it's to where it's like
write that
some
down.
people it's going to be different, but we have to realize we're not moving to these trends just to do them, but we realize people are now using technology more to experience stuff, which is sad, but
And that's a good example of a positive development. The
Yeah.
positive development for us is we went from 25, 30% electronic giving to over 50%. That's very positive. It's steady.
Yeah.
It trains people to give good.
and we have people that have never stepped into the building that are still part of this
We
church.
do too.
And they
We-
promote for
we
this
have
church
people
weekend and
we
weekend.
have people in,
We do
in,
too.
in Michigan, other places in the country and
Yeah.
world that are active parts. They're in the Upper Peninsula where they can't get to a church, and they've tied in the best they can.
Yeah,
you know,
so-
it has changed some of
Yeah.
that stuff. What's funny about it is the most vocal people in our church for about 3 months, up until I'd say about 3 weeks ago, our church kind of started to wake up. You know, it was kind of weird. They just
Yeah. No, I
they
get it.
really just started waking up. It's like coming out of their sleep. You know, Rip Van Winkle. But before that, what was funny was the people that were the loudest were the online people. When I do classes on Wednesday night, 90% of our questions were coming through text and online. We use a spiritual greeter and she's able to speak on their behalf. And she's the busiest person in the church talking on their behalf.
Yeah.
I'll see her walking to go. We tell them, if you want to sign up for something online, just tell her and make her walk. And they love it. They'll make her walk all the way over to sign up for the House of Hope. And they'll make her walk over. If you want the prayer greeter to go, she'll go to the prayer room. I'll see her get up and go to the prayer room. And I know she's going to ask for prayer. And I can see the comments afterwards. So our online community almost got louder in text than our verbal community in campus. And I'm now seeing it come to parity again, and maybe even better.
And well, it's in these next few years, we're going to see that even the way that we view the model of church, the way that we do church and services, you know, what's being spirit led now, you're really more spirit led now.
Okay,
than
so
you
that's
were
the
back then.
question next. The biggest challenge
Yeah.
of the years to come. You think we're going to have to be ready to embrace some of this stuff?
Yeah. Well, and technology wise, we're just going to have to learn that people are now modeled in their brain that this is how you experience church. This is how you experience live events. When you say we're having a concert, but we're not streaming it, oh, why not? Like,
they're going to expect multiple venues a lot of times, or
Right.
you better have a good reason. Well, this is reason it's an experiential worship.
Yeah.
we need you to be here. You can't transcend
No.
some things through the video. You
but
just
that's
can't.
the expectation now, and most churches will fade away because of it. Not because they're not spirit filled or they don't have the words preached.
Totally agree. That's where COVID-19's changed our church. You're not going to be able to go back on some of those things, at least for the next 5-10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a new march. You know, when we got through COVID, one of the first things I had from one of our former leaders here in the church was, well, I guess now we can finally shut all the streaming down and go back to normal. I said, we will never be able to go back to normal. That was not the future anymore. This has become too much of who we are. And there's people we've got that are connected, and that's their connection point. That doesn't mean it has to be yours, but it is theirs, and they can both be valid. And well, you got to want people to come here. I said, yeah, I want people to come here too. But do you think cut them off?
Yeah, no.
We'll get it done, or will they find somebody else that'll build a relationship?
Yeah.
So we want to work toward that, and there's other ways to engage people.
And I've seen that even though the mass use of social media is kind of being crippled by so much of the shadow banning and stuff like that with, you know,
Yes.
profiles and
No,
stuff.
it is very much so.
Your
Yeah.
voice starts, the more you want to use it, the less you can use it because of how much reach it's not really impacting.
Absolutely.
You know? And you either way, you can have it at your church building, but the content of the service, we always think, well, if they just experience this service, they'll always be here. But it's like, that's not the case anymore. They'll come whenever they want to come. And
when I prayer walk in the back on Sunday
Yeah.
morning, I actually greet most of the online worshipers. I just take one and say, "Hey, glad to have you."
Yeah,
I'll just
I
send
see
a
you always on
I send
there.
a gentle greeting. I take a
I
few.
should just say hi.
Well, do it. I take a few minutes, just like I would greet people here. I take a few minutes to do that because I don't know that I can always do that. And sometimes it's broader, but I look at who's on the best I can because I want to pray. I want to preach with them. I want to, as I'm thinking through who's there, they need to be included. And I think there's a way for us to still connect.
Yeah.
And when we take their questions, when we have a spiritual greeter getting up and doing that, they know they're in the room the best that we can now. And so Is it all the same? No, it's not going to be the same, but we'll never be the same. We'll be tomorrow. So I think we can do valid expressions. We need to keep working on it. And I think that's the fight of worship pastors is to continue to be relevant.
And let's be honest, we're in Southern Illinois where everyone now in their church does some sort of streaming.
Yeah.
So even on mine, like I'll barely at 9:00. Oh my gosh. Like I'll get all these notifications of every other church in Southern Illinois.
Then we're all lighting up. Yeah. Every now and then I'll turn the wrong church on. Oh, that's not even my church, you know?
Am I preaching right now?
All right, I got the last question. Here, you read the last question. We're not over time, but Lucas is going to be stressed. But this has been very good, very good. This has really been good, Israel.
Love it.
This is kind of a question every pastor, every worship pastor's got to deal with. Everybody has these guys. I'm gonna show my video. I prepared this hard. This is deep theology. Just for the record, the video I'm going to show is not a moving video. It's a static video of these guys. It's static because the audio is moving. If I run the moving video, YouTube will bop us. But you'll get the feeling if you've got,
kids.
if you're anybody. So please watch this. And every worship pastor, every pastor has these guys in their church.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good,
It
though.
could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was
Get
terrible.
him away!
Hey, boo!
Boom!
Okay. Our last question. Let's go out on a bang. How do you take the critics? Those that gripe about your song selection, the drums being too loud, lights being the wrong color, the lights make me want to gag, the song's too slow, the song's too fast, the song's too long, the song's too new, the song's too short. Oh yeah, and your hair, they can't stand your hair. And by the way, that haze makes me sick, even though it's made just from water. That haze has got to be causing a chemical reaction in my body, and my body's going to melt.
Do you guys use haze?
No, we don't either. We need to use.
We don't
haze.
have ventilation for all that.
We
stuff.
need to use haze, but every time we do it, Lucas eventually will get us on haze. But some churches use haze. Shane told me they just go nuts in their church about it. Nuts.
I've got a haze guy.
You got a haze guy?
I know a Gen Zer who could just sit in the back with one of those vape things.
Lucas, have you heard all the haze critics where they just go nuts? Yeah. So we're always preacher, pastor, worship. We all have these Muppet guys up in the corner.
Oh yeah,
and they can just kind of kill your joy. You had a great worship service, and they hate everything, or they let you know what the people think. Just first of all, when they tell you what the people think, there is no people behind the people.
Oh right.
Number one, it's what they think. Number two, they're cowards. Number three is I always tell them, have the people come tell me themselves. They never show up. And so that always tells me a little bit right off the bat. But you got to deal with it.
Yeah.
So, because we're our own hard critics. But then it's like the devil knows when to cruise them by.
Yeah.
You're having a weakening moment.
Yeah.
How do you deal with the Muppet guys? You got Muppet guys?
Oh, they're everywhere.
They're everywhere, yeah. I love those guys.
But
It depends what kind of mood you're in.
yeah, I mean, dealing with them, that's a toleration aspect where it's like, I don't tolerate negativity that fully impacts that says, I did not do what God has called me to do.
Yeah, I did my best, brother.
I don't deal with that sort of criticism. I believe that criticism should bring critiquing, which then challenges you to be better, not critiquing that challenges yourself.
Just to cry.
And I think that there's a difference between complaining and critiquing. And I think people have masquerade their complaints with, I'm just going to, this is just what I think. And it's like,
I'm looking up a scripture.
yeah, no, you're fine.
No, go ahead.
But I believe a lot of times for me, it's just, okay, did I do, first and foremost, God, did I do what you told me to do? And did I follow your lead first?
Right.
And if they're criticizing what I did after following your lead, then they're not criticizing me, they're criticizing you.
Right.
Now, that's not boistering up my own opinion and being like, well, see, God told me. I never say that to people who critique because I don't think they're listening anyway. But, it's just like if people are going to say something about what worship did, then Francis Chan said it best.
Oh, yeah.
It's not about you.
It's not about
Right.
you.
Yeah.
That's right. Proverbs 18:6 says, a man's gift make room for him.
Yeah.
And King James, and bringeth him before great men. My mentor, Fred Bishop, had one real simple thing. He says, if you're the only one doing it, you're the best there is, number one. Number two, he says, when somebody tells you they can do it better, you tell them, next week, service starts at 10 o'clock, you're on. and you'll see an instant panic almost from anybody. They got about you teaching this or that. So next Wednesday, you'll be starting off the class at 10 o'clock or 7 o'clock. You're up. We'll see how you do.
Well, that's how I started my Love and Truth job.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't me complaining at all. There was a situation that happened. But anyways, with that, I never really got to the point of where I knew what exactly how to deal with that. I'm still trying to process that.
I think we all have to.
Yeah.
I think it's the hardest thing for a pastor because you bare your soul out, you render yourself, you give everything you got, you go to lunch, and then somebody calls you, or somebody you hear from somebody, so really mad at you, mad at me. I gave everything I had. Maybe I messed up.
The criticisms are different. For us, usually the criticism is probably going to be like you were saying, oh, the drums were just too loud. But whereas for you, it might be like, hey, I really didn't like this thing that you said.
Yeah, I'm
Where
you
we
got
can
political.
get some of that too, but it's less personal. It's more like, well, we weren't worshiping you.
Yeah,
so.
but just let me say, they're going to say about what I said about something, but before they get to that, they're going to gripe about the worship leader's hair being too long first. So it's going to be, when I'm going to get a combo.
Well,
Yeah.
They're going to say, I don't like you and the horse you rode in on.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I mean? And
just like Jesus.
Don't they?
Anybody.
They just pick on everything, and it is tough. And I think your word about being graciousness is good. Sometimes you just have to look at them and say, I think you've got a bigger problem than I've got.
Well, I mean, that's my philosophy too.
Yeah.
If you have something to say, I'm like, but they'll say, well, people have said this, and I'm like, well, tell them to talk to me if they have a problem.
But there's a vulnerability when you've given your worship out, your team's completed this task. When I've done my work, there's something about having laid everything out that you're a little naked and bare afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I take Mondays off. I don't take Fridays off. I'm not good always at taking Mondays off. I didn't do a good job yesterday. I did a good job the week before. But I take Mondays off because I don't need to be in the office. I don't need to hear things that day.
Yeah.
I just need to say, God, I gave my best, and take my Sabbath.
Yeah.
And kind of recover. And then on Tuesday, I can handle it. I can put the mantle back on and go, that seems to be a problem with you, not me. I had a blessed day, Praise God, I'm healed. But I think you guys like us, we've got to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves.
Yes.
And I think the graciousness will come if we've cared for ourselves, knowing we've given our best on the field. I don't think those Muppets have any authority if we know we gave him our best.
And we know, people, we try to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, you know what, you just mean well.
If it's good, I can take good criticism if it's a little thing. I know when people, when the person's rare at it or they're kind of humbled by it, I'm sorry, I just want to bring this up. But when you know that's that guy in the balcony and it's just the routine.
It all goes down to a connection thing. If you know me and I know you, then when you critique something, I'm going to look at that differently.
Were you trying to make me better, or are you trying to tear me down?
Because you're just first time member here. What am I supposed to do with somebody who's given me 20 years of experience or 20 years of being here, saying you're the best we've had?
And if anybody's trying to tear you down, they're not really trying to build the kingdom.
No.
Yeah, don't bring me down.
And
Bruce,
but
I don't know what that's in the song.
Is that a song?
Well, it's a lyric.
Yellow.
Yeah.
I'm
Don't bring me down.
Yeah, don't bring me down, Bruce.
Got it. No.
Don't bring me because I get up off the floor.
Don't get down.
Yeah,
Are we
don't get
doing
down.
that one this next Sunday?
No, it's not spiritual.
No.
Hey, Israel, it's been great.
Thank you.
We've learned so much from you, and the thing I think we've learned is about we serve the embodied Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And that our goal is to connect with Him and each other, and to do it graciously.
Yeah.
I think that's a good learning point. And be prepared and ready to go.
It's all about loving people. And loving God.
You're even nice to the Muppets. So I mean,
I love the Muppets.
I do too. Hey guys, check out. I mean, let me bring this up.
I grew up on them.
Go see
love
Love
those
and Truth
guys.
Church. Go see the church. Go to the church
Yes,
campus.
yes,
Experience the worship of Israel Lopez and the team there. I want to encourage that to you. The information will be in the description of the show. You can find that and go to it and be a part of that. We're glad to have you on the dock. Ben, it's been great to have you on this, getting started.
Yeah.
You like it? Yeah, Beth, you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was
Good.
great.
Lucas, good job on that. And we'll see you soon. It's onthedoc.org. You can email us at info@onthedoc.org. Check out many of our platforms listed on the site as well. You can get links there at onthedoc.org. Go check them out. Love to hear from you on social media. Don't say ugly, nasty things. We just told you don't be the Muppets. Say nice things and constructive things. Tell Israel how nice his hair is. And that Ren's a nice name for a kitty, things like that.
Yes.
And check them out. Hit subscribe, like, hit notify, comments, share this with other people. I think a lot of people out there that are in worship, we wanted people to learn about how you can enhance your worship. And if you listen to this, I think you're going to be a stronger worshiper when you're done. And come be a partner or sponsor with us. We'd love to have you. If you don't if you can't find your way to Craneville, we'd love to have you at Community Faith Church as well. Information's on the screen, and we do a stream as well, coftv.com. Check it out. Come see us. We'd love to see you. And gosh, we've enjoyed having you. As we go out on this episode, as we've done on all these, we're going to feature. I really want to appreciate Lucas for going in the studio with you, Israel Day, giving the extra time, and he has put together an incredible piece of worship just for you. So as we leave and as we sign off and we see you in the next On the Dock, you're going to enjoy the incredible worship of Israel Lopez. Thank you, Israel.
Thank you.
God bless. We'll see you soon at On the Dock.
And you are my everything. And you are the one I seek. All distractions begin to fade. In the light of your glory displayed. And hear my soul calling you. Come do what you want to do. And I need you, Lord, and I need you more, and more than the air the bread